This is Damon Stevens, Fin Wealth Builders. Today is Tuesday, October 19th, 2021. This is stock market update for trades of the day. It was a good market out there today. So hopefully all of you are profitable today. And you see here from our charts here that the Dow Jones is up another 0.5%, 0.56%, NASDAQ up 0.71%, and S&P 500 0.74%. So green day overall across the board. You see here from our heat map that the FANG stocks were pretty well, to positive. You can see Tesla pull back here a little bit. They have earnings coming up tomorrow after the close. So obviously they were elevated, so they'll probably come down a little bit. We'll get that into that when we get to the charts. You see, but overall, nice green heat map for the United States, also around the world. For the most part, green across the board. China's very green. BABA popped back up as well. So, lots of money, moving into the stock market. We're seeing, close to new highs here. So just be real careful. There could be a pullback if there was to have bad news. But, as far as right now, market continues to rally up, and we're getting close to breaking records again. Looking at our scanner today, HX, which has been a multi-day trade, HUDI multi-day trade, GRVI was multi-day trade, CEI. So we have several of them on here, but I did not get on all of these. But from last night's video, HX was a trade for yesterday, and again today, we did see the continuation they were looking for. We saw the breakout of yesterday's highs, and we climbed up, from a low here on the 18th, 550, clear up to a new high today of 980. So gonna see if there's another continuation, but boy, if you stayed this in all day, you would be very profitable in this trade. Didn't need to move a lot based on the price for you to make money. So, continue using that scanner for these opportunities, and look for multi-day trades like this one, and it'll continue to pay off for you. ION was another one that was a multi-day trade. Didn't come up a lot. It did give you the dip though to get back in right here just on the 50, at 188, and then the high was 227. So not a ton, but enough to where if you're scalping this with a lot of shares, it was still profitable for you. Looking at the earnings deluxe, or the Netflix is what we're looking for. J&J, Halliburton, and P&G didn't move as like I thought they would. Netflix, I did get some of that on the tonight, and we'll cover that in the chart. So that had a lot of volatility. The rest of them did not. But I saw, so Netflix was my trade of the evening after hours. Looking tomorrow, I'll be looking at Verizon, some of these others, Abbott, just to see kind of overall where they're at. Biogen's on the list as well, but I'm mostly interested in this close. It just seems like I have a lot better luck with the volatility and getting huge gains after hours, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Yeah, so we're continuing to watch earnings. Earnings continues to come out and providing opportunities. So Netflix, you can see here, we had a low back here on October 18th of 620, rallied up to 641. And then after hours, Netflix just had this huge wide strike price of 663.15 and a low of 622. And so this price action moved in a matter of 5 minutes. So, on the top side, I'll show you here what we typically do. What I like to do is, it'll take a little bit here, but you can look at, we were at all-time highs. And so looking at the high here of 646.84, that would be what you'd be looking for, something maybe elevated above that, maybe, up to 10% above that for a swing high. And then you look at the low down here, this last breakout of 623, and that would be where you would look for a low on this. So now if we go back, let's go back to a 10-minute chart here. Actually, Let's do 5. So you can see this after hour action here. So you can see this wide range you have here, and that's where people, you know, the trade use straddles. Only thing is like after hours for Fidelity or using TD Ameritrade, you may not be able to. You can't trade those options out. So only during the day. But if you can get a straddle, you're looking for these wide movements like this to really profit heavily if you're doing options. Otherwise, you just scalp this basically, you know, watching for the high, shorting it, waiting for it to come down, locking out some profits, looking for dips where it goes below prior lows and buying in. Again, we had 2 here and buying those dips and waiting for it to come back up. And then it'll kind of settle up. It'll be choppy here. You don't want to be in that at all. I like just the wide swings for the purchases. And then, you know, then it'll just kind of settle down and it grinds down or grinds up depending on the earnings. And then that's it. I mean, it's a quick get in, get out at any peaks or valleys where there's extreme moves. And it depends on the price of stock, but you can see here 622 to 666, that's a $40 swing. That's why I like earnings. So just sharing that. Not everybody should do it. You got to know what you're looking for. You got to be using some charts, some technical analysis to see where your highs and lows are, so you know where you want to get in, where you want to get out, and make sure that you're ready to quickly make those moves. And a lot of these I scale in. So if it's coming down and it breaks the levels, I'll go ahead and just buy a few shares, buy a few more, a few more, a few more, a few more until it bottoms out. And then as it moves back up, then I start to sell. As it moves towards the center point, it starts to skyrocket up towards the top. Then I wait till I hit my point, and then I'll buy a little bit more, 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 more. And then when it pulls back down, I'm selling as it comes back down as well. So the center point is kind of where my sell zone is in this little range here, about 50% of this move here, 50% of the move here. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But that is, you know, just a little bit of training and kind of give you an idea of what I do when I'm scalping, you know, those earnings reports. So Tesla's going to report tomorrow. You can see that it moved up. I thought maybe we're going to get close to that. You know, I was expecting to hit maybe 1897 or something just short of 900 before earnings, but we didn't. We did hit close to 1880. Just barely, just be above it, and then pull back. And we were talking about those $20 moves in our nightly meetings. So seeing this little pullback here, I mean, I think that's still elevated. We have earnings tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see if Tesla just kind of comes down here and either fills this gap or possibly comes down and just chases down the bottom of this candle. So that's what I'm looking for tomorrow, some type of movement down from Tesla. If not, it'll probably happen after hours. So definitely going to be on the watch for after hours tomorrow on Tesla. Tesla does move a lot, so I usually use very small share sizes so I can average in for larger swings. But to definitely be looking at Tesla tomorrow and see where it's going. I know that there's a lot of issues right now with supplies for batteries and components and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that is affecting the automakers. So looking at the next chart, Adobe, we talked about Adobe. It was a multi-day trade, and you can see here that it continued to give us a nice ride up. Here we had a nice little spike up here from 619 to a high of 640 almost. And so if you didn't get any of this, it did pull back to 634 and then just kind of grinding here. So, you know, we'll give us another day out of this. It's possible, you know, it is flat, but it was flat before, and that's good consolidation. So do we consolidate and move up? Right now, the moving averages say we do, but we're also elevated a little bit here. So looking for some type of pullback here soon, a little shorting opportunity, which we talked about in the video last night. Apple pulled up. We talked about the resistance level of 150 needing to be broken. We just got barely under it. It really teased today, and I was hoping it was going to try to break out. It did not. So it could sit in this channel a little bit or retrace a little bit. But if it does break the 150, then I'll be going back in that as well for the breakout. So Amazon, we talked about this gap here that we didn't quite fill. It did not fill that either. So there's a little bit of resistance here trying to fill that gap for some reason. Doesn't want to get up there. So we may consolidate here before we pull up there, or we may pull back a little bit. But Amazon did not fill that gap. So we still have that open, and that is a resistance for Amazon. So looking for it to find the momentum to push through that, or it might pull back a little bit here to get the momentum it needs. NVIDIA is up. So you notice a lot of our stocks on our watch list and the ones that we've been trading continue to run positive. So hopefully you're taking advantage of the opportunities there and seeing some profits come out of it. Moderna, these are the ones where we said they're kind of sitting flat, and Moderna was flat again today. It refused to break over the 20. So it's just on the watch list for now. NVAX, same thing. It's just sitting there on support lines, so it's not moving either. So just got to wait for those to start showing some strength and momentum, or if they stay there too long, they'll probably break down and come down lower. So something to be aware of, especially since they're under the 200. The only reason I haven't taken these off my list is because they've been strong runners and they run about $10 a day. So even if you're not finding any other stocks, typically you can look at one of these stocks and get $3 to $10 out of it in a day trade. The dollar shows some weakness. It spiked actually down through this support line here in our little triangle here that we have here, this wedge. But then it bounced back up over above it. So it did find its support there just under the 20, but at our support level. So we'll see if it consolidates here, bounces up, but that's the dollar. The VIX is broke below our support line and is heading down lower toward territory on the chart here, and that is good for the SPY to continue going up. So that's good for the market. So the market will continue to rally as long as we stay below that. So again, this is one of those ones we watch every day. I have a chart up all day long to watch the VIX, so that if there's a occasional spike, or all of a sudden it starts to spike above the 16, 18, 20 level especially, we know that the market's going to go back into a correction again. So watching the VIX is kind of my leading indicator of a market reversal. The SPY, so I put these little trend lines up here on the 50, the 100, the 200, just so you can see what we did here, that we did break through the 50, barely broke the 100, and we set in this little channel here, broke back up. As soon as we broke this line here, we were back basically positive on the market and headed up again. So you can see here that we got some resistance up here at the highs, 452.60. We're just right underneath it, but we have 3 gaps underneath this as well. But as long as momentum's there, we're probably not going to fill those. But we could see some resistance and a bounce back before it hits 452.60. So if it either drives through it or gaps above it, that means we're in no man's land. We're just headed north, and who knows how far the market's can go. But if it hits that line, or possibly here, we come tomorrow morning and we're going down, we may be going down to fill these gaps, and the market may not be ready to get to new highs. But we're knocking on the door right now. So just be aware of that. Triple Q, same thing. We broke above this resistance line. So we are headed back up towards those highs. We have a couple of resistances areas here, but we did find support in the next channel here. So we'll see what happens with the Qs tomorrow. Semiconductors didn't fill the gap all the way. You notice that we just tapped this line here that we have. So you can see here that as long as we can break above that line, we can get back into this wedge here and start to head back up further. But there could be some resistance right here, so we'll see if that pulls back tomorrow. IWM, it failed, but it's actually on our little wedge here, right on it. So it's interesting, we put these technical analysis in, and you put these lines in, and it's funny how the market will seem to find those lines, which is a confirmation that your analysis is correct. Financials rallied up. I broke through that resistance level up to a new level here. So financials is just running strong. And, you know, I don't have any lines up here because we're new highs. So we will start to just continue monitoring this and see how far we can go. But you know, financials continue to be strong. Bank earnings are good. And that's good for the overall stock market and economy. Looking over at gold, gold's flat. So it's sitting here nice and flat. We tried to break through the resistance lines, failed. Now it's just trying to consolidate and get energy to go back up again. Silver hit the 50 and this resistance line and broke back down here. So it's above the 50, but below the 100, sorry. So we got to get some more momentum to break above that. Bitcoin did break out of our resistance area right here that we had and is heading to our next goal at 65,000. We're just below it. We does it make it or does it pull back? Hard to say, but this is really bullish momentum here. So Bitcoin continues to do well. You know, just make sure you're taking profits along the way if you are in here, because we could have a pullback here at some point, but for right now, the markets and crypto is just a great market right now. You see Ethereum is consolidating here as it was the last few days. Same with Shiba. Shiba's consolidating as well. It's above all the moving averages, though, so that's a bullish momentum. You just got to get through these resistance areas to start going to new highs. But a lot of things to track, lots of opportunities in the market. Everything so far this is looking positive this week. So we'll see if that continues on. Just know we have a lot of resistance levels that we got to get through across the board. If we fail on one or many of them, we could see a pullback a little bit. So just be aware of that. Watch the VIX, watch the scanner for opportunities, and stay safe out there in your trading. And we will talk more tomorrow night.